Well, I think they're already confirmed that, but we are going to wait and see. We are waiting for the picks.
We can't see the bans.
We can't see no bans yet.
Never
mind. You know, maybe it's a strategy. No bans. Maybe it's like a gentleman's agreement. It's like, you know what, everyone gets their favorite. You know, it's like blind pick. It's no bans. Everyone gets what they want, and that's just the way it is.
That'd be the dream. I'd love to be able to talk about the bans that are going on, but honestly, I don't know who this champion is. I've never seen him before. Now, honestly, I think in terms of what we're going to see coming through in this series, is probably going to be some more focuses towards nerdRage, who in the past we've seen him really kind of struggle with being given a carry jungler and being shut down very hard in the early game. Scudzy equally is very, very experienced, so I think if nerdRage gets shut out of the game quite early on, they're really going to struggle to get the ball rolling. And I think, as we've seen in previous weeks, if he gets a lease and gets shut down in the early game, he does nothing in the whole game, and that's my biggest concern for nerdRage.
I think the biggest thing, I agree with you as well, but I think the biggest thing for nerdRage as well is that we're not really in a carry jungle meta. It's a protect the ADC meta. It's get tanks, beefy front line, and just keep the ADC hyper carry, be it an Ashe, a Xayah, just keep them alive. That doesn't really work with an Elise as much, and we would love to know what we would... we're going to quickly go back away from this. We're having a little bit of an issue with seeing picks and bans.
I was going to say I would sit here and just talk rubbish for the whole time. It's absolutely fine.
It's just like, you know what, Warwick, screw it. UOL are playing.
But you touched on it very nicely a second ago in saying this is a very tank-heavy meta, which is why Jokerism is having such a brilliant time at the minute as well, because what's his favourite champion? It's Sivir. And Sivir in this meta is fantastic. We saw it, in fact, last week, I think it was, when Reckless played Sivir in the late game, got himself a triple kill, they wiped out. They basically just won the whole series off the back of that final little play coming through front. No, it was a lost game of the Sivir getting the triple kill. So I completely ignore that point, but they did win the series overall in the end. It was more the fact that we've seen Sivers being played at that high level of play. And for Jokerism, he's probably thinking, this is my time to shine now. This is my go-to champion. And the fact that I can pick her, and it works so well in the comps that we like playing, you know, we are a very teamfight-focused team, it suits them so well. If they can utilise the strengths correctly, they might find themselves in, like I say, with a great chance of beating nerdRage.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of just touching back on it, they're a massive teamfight team. Like, the roster changes along with the meta shift, that has been obviously a huge help to them going into this kind of like late run, you know, around the last bend of the race, and they're really coming up behind the leaders. I want to know as well is that if they do get the server, which they shouldn't, as you just said, excuse me.
It should get banned away realistically.
Should,
yeah. But then you've got to ban other things as well, like Kallista's got to go away. You can argue Xayah might be banned away in some cases too.
You do not want to give away the Xayah.
I know that Jokerism isn't a massive player of either of those. He likes his Varus, he likes his Sivir, and that's about it. So they could risk leaving it open. But if he's been like stealth practicing it for the last couple of weeks, ready for this, then suddenly it's going to really bite them on the backside.
Yeah, them Smurfs, man. Them Smurfs.
Them Smurfs.
But yeah, like, and it's kind of like something like that. I feel like we focused a little bit more on Enclave, but let's have a look at the strengths of nerdRage. Yes, where do nerdRage come into this? What is their win condition, and how do they look like they're going to come out with the win on this one?
The really nice thing that I like about nerdRage is they actually have two shot callers in the team. They have nerdRage in the jungle, and they also have Prosphere playing in the support. Now, generally, I was speaking to nerdRage yesterday, and he was saying, when we're ahead, I'll make the calls. So I've got those experience of kind of playing from ahead. I'm a jungler, I'm the initiator. That's the way things go. Whereas Prosphere is a lot better at playing from behind. He's very, very good at being in control, you know, kind of being articulate in a sense and saying, right, this is the right play for us here, let's do this, let's do that. But nerdRage said if it's an artful play, it's all me. Naturally, he would say that,
of
right?
course, of course.
All the brute force plays are done by Prosphere, that's what he does, and I do all the nice thinky ones, actually take some kind of processing, and I was like, okay, very nice flame of your teammate there.
Yeah.
But having that double-edged sword to them in a sense where they have two players that can offer, you know, that kind of strong leadership when it's necessary means that they can play from behind and they can really push their lead when they're ahead, because for each of them, they've only got to focus on one aspect of the game. And as I said, my biggest concern for them is the mid lane again. Kakarn's champion pool, if it gets banned away or picked away, might find himself in a spot of bother. Otherwise, I think they're in a pretty good spot. They've got a whole host of experience on the team. You alluded to nerdRage earlier on. Fantastic player, been in the scene, I think, longer than most of us at this point. He really knows his stuff. So yeah, if he gets rolling, especially in the early game, you might just find him running away with the game altogether.
We'll have to wait and see. We are being told we are getting back into picks and bans, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully we'll be bringing you that very, very soon. But we didn't actually get to get your prediction. Who do you think's going to win?
You already asked me this.
I know, but you didn't answer.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, because you said congratulations, nerdRage. You're through as a joke, and we laughed. Yeah. And it was good times.
Yeah. I'm just trying to come up with.
Have you forgotten our good times already?
Wow. I'm just trying to fill
let's be round.
Okay.
What's your prediction? Go on then.
My prediction is.
Walking in today.
God damn. Honestly, like from a kind of a very kind of.
Don't listen to me.
No, I can't.
Do you want to make this simple, right? You go for nerdRage, and I'll go for Enclave.
That way they're both screwed and M&M win.
Yeah. It's a tie. That's
It's a tie.
Everyone's out. That's it.
Everyone's done. There's no more Premiership. I honestly would probably... I favour the team fighting of Enclave, personally. I think Enclave are just in a much stronger meta right now. I think they're definitely a little bit more team-orientated. Like you said, when newtree gets those carry junglers ahead, there's only a bit of an if there if he gets those carry junglers ahead. I think that's just too big of an if for me. I'd have to personally go with Enclave, but now that we've both gone with them, they're screwed.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, this is the thing with newtree is, you know, again, he's a very carry jungle focused player. He likes his carry ones. He likes his Nidalee. I remember we actually had a 1v1 tournament at iSeries. He played Nidalee a couple of times there with a couple of the guys there when they were having games between the 1v1s. He likes things like the Jarvan as well, the Elises in there. He used to really like Graves when it was a thing in the meta. Whereas now you're looking at things like Sejuani and Gragas pretty much exclusively being in the meta. And whilst he can play the Gragas, it's not his desired playstyle. He likes the carry ones where he can get in there and bring someone down incredibly quickly. And we've seen a few times a Jarvan in the jungle when he gets Dustblade. I think actually we recall a few weeks ago in one of the tournaments, it was literally 100-0 for an Orianna. Ult in, half health gone, auto attack, end.
Done.
That was it.
That was it.
Game over. There was nothing more to say about it. So he really likes these style of champions, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try and shoot for that. However, hopefully Enclave, they've played them against him so many times recently, they know what they need to ban away against him to stop him being that comfortable.
So let's say he does get the Elise. Like, hypothetically, he goes with Elise, they have a comp around it. How do nerdRage combat the very obvious and known flaws of Kakan? There, you know, the champion pool there just isn't huge, and it's dated to get 3 bans right there. But actually, we're going to go. I think we're looking at the last bans they had, or the last.
We're actually into game.
This is it. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. We actually had a little bit of an issue with picks and bans. We're going to hopefully be able to tell you what the bans were, but we are going to go straight into game 1 very, very shortly. Hopefully, get the spectator guns sorted. But we saw Galio in there as well. He's kind of slipped out of meta a little bit.
The one that really surprised me in that was Cho'Gath in the jungle. We see Cho'Gath in top lane all the time at the minute. It's really boring to play against. It's super uninteractive because he will win every trade against you thanks to his E. But now we're seeing him into the jungle. That's interesting. Usually you'll take him in the top lane, you'll go towards as much health as you can, you take the Gargoyle Stone Plate so you get that extra 100% HP, and then you just chow down on the AD carry and they die. End of story. I think in jungle that might not be so easy because you won't get to level 6 as quick, you won't hit your item spikes as quick, and they've got Camille in the top lane, so it's a carry-style top lane, and that's the biggest surprise to me in all of this, is Artorias getting the opportunity to school Prelude in C, but he might struggle.
He might struggle indeed, but ladies and gentlemen, we are onto the rift for Enclave Gaming versus nerdRage. It's a battle for playoffs for Enclave and a battle for first for nerdRage. As we have a look and see what we go in, we'll have a look at Enclave very firstly there as we see Galio, Jarvan, Talia, Tristana was let through for Jokerism along with Lulu for Nightmares. And on the red side it is nerdRage with the Camille, Cho'Gath like you talked about, Orianna who's been severely nerfed in the last patch or two, and Varus Braum in the duo. Looking at, because we obviously didn't get quite a chance to talk about it during picks and bans, having a look at these two teams right now, who kind of came out a bit more favorably?
It's kind of hard without having a couple. Seeing a comp come together is a lot easier. Being going, hey, here's a comp, which one's better? It's like, okay, give me a minute. Now, I think overall, I really like the team fight that's come out from nerdRage. But I think with the capability to annihilate, assassinate, and outmaneuver the enemy team, Enclave definitely win there. So for them, I think it's going to be a win lane kind of game, whereas for nerdRage, it's a survive till 25 minutes. We've got a huge Cho'Gath, we've got an Artorias who can't be stopped, and you have a Kakan in the mid lane who's got the Orianna ult. Can just make an absolutely huge impact if necessary. Yeah,
absolutely. But my biggest issue for nerdRage right now is that you're looking at 2 carries, the Orianna and the Varus. Apart from their flash, they don't have an escape. And if you burn that with the Jarvan and Galio combo, that could be massive. You could blow up those 2 carries instantly in a team fight, and then there is no damage on the side of nerdRage.
Yeah, it's a concern they have, but I think equally, you know, once you've got the Cho, they've got 3 big damage threats there that they can make use of for nerdRage. The Cho is their kind of big tank, and they've got the Braum as well, so it's this kind of 2 tank, 3 carry style. They will always go for the split push with the Camille. Why wouldn't you? It's just so proficient at split pushing through the side lane. And Galio really, I don't think, could stack up against it too well. He can get a bit of wave clear with the couple first items he gets, but later on, he wants to be joining the team. He wants to get involved in those team fights, so he doesn't want to have to sit and deal with this Camille who's going to be split pushing onto them. But if Artorias is left alone, they'll lose towers like no tomorrow, and before you know it, they'll have no control of the map.
Yeah, they will. And ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize even for the delay.
Apologize.
Yeah, something like that. You know, we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. Words are hard. But we do apologize. There was a slight delay there for a player that had a headset issue. Looks like it has been sorted, and we are back into game as we finally start getting to see some minions.
Well, like I said, I'd love to see what bans come through after this game, potentially to know what came out, because I think Gragas would have gone, Elise would have gone, Zac maybe would have gone through there too. It's just what other choices were banned away in the mid lane. This is a very, very kind of staple mid lane. We've seen D.Va play on Natalia before. We've seen the Orianna pretty much every single game when she's open. She gets picked up because she is such a safe mid laner. Got the slows, got the shields, got the wave clear, got the team fight potential. She brings a little bit of everything to the team, so picking her into any comp tends to work out quite well.
Yeah, we actually, just on your point on D.Va, we saw the Talia last week, and it just went off. Like, it was absolutely crazy. People had some question marks about the mid lane there, and they had some question marks about champion pools and their ability to carry from D.Va's position. He completely silenced them and just did absolutely huge amounts. Can he do it again, though? That's the question.
Depends which D.Va has got out of bed this morning, I think.
Pretty much.
That's my big question, is which one are we going to see? Because he was huge on it last week in terms of the Orianna. Obviously now he's playing against it back on Natalia. It might mix things up. Scudsy's already coming in for a bit of invade, spotted out by the ward on that red buff, which hasn't even been started yet, mind you, but here's Talia.
Yeah, it's Talia trying to jump on the Nutri. Nutri goes back away. D.Va took a lot of minion aggro, though, and that was a...
tunnel vision, I think, on
yeah. You don't really... I understand you want to deny it, but not that hard.
Artorias. Taking a lot of damage there from the... Prelude and Seed. We always expect this as well.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Nice little smite away there from Scudsy. Nutri taking a lot of damage himself. Red buff is available for Scudsy as well, so he's definitely going to be winning those trades. And Scudsy kind of setting up camp in his house into this topside jungle there, and not really a lot that Nutri can do.
But this is what hurts Nutri so much. We've seen it in the last 2 or 3 weeks of the Prem, is that he always loses out when things like this happen. Speaking of losing out, D.Va losing a lot of health in the mid lane, probably forced a flash here.
Yeah, Khan does force out the heal, and that was a...
poor Nutri.
Yeah.
But like I say, this is what we saw last week as well. Oh, here we go. Oh, nice flash.
Nutri gets out, and I think Artorias even does end up coming in to try and help him out, but they have got Kakan coming in as well. There's a lot of damage on Prelude and Seas. He's the first one to drop, and it's Nutri who picks up the first blood. Scudsy, though, going to be able to back away, flash into the power pit there, but Kakan hasn't got mana. Now he will, as he picks up double buffs, and that is 2 kills going over to nerdRage. Disaster for Enclave.
Disaster indeed, because as said, Nutri in the last 2 or 3 weeks has been invaded every single game, and when he gets invaded and falls behind, nerdRage have no answer for the next 20 to 25 minutes in that game. Just pure chaos, to be honest with you, and that's the last thing that they needed, was for this to all go wrong. Scudsy especially was so confident in his invade and trying to get some damage down into Nutri, and he did that very, very well. However, he had a mid laner who was losing out. He had no support from his top laner, realistically. It just took an easy collapse coming through from Artorias, and now they find themselves at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, big disadvantage. Nutri gets an early kill. There's an early kill and double buffs onto Kakan's Orianna, so all of a sudden that mid lane, which wasn't going fantastically well for D.Va anyway in the first few minutes, has now become a little bit more tense for him. We'll have to see, but the one positive you could say from this is that with all this focus on top side, Jokerism's found himself alone and scaling and picking up farm.
He has, and winning out this bot lane quite comfortably as well. He's probably just sitting here thinking, now guys, we've got to do this, we've got to make this today. I'm going to play my best in the bot lane, because he's not really regarded as a lane-winning style carry. He generally tends to be more of a team fighter. Picks up the Sivir, goes to that early shove, and that's about it otherwise. He doesn't really tend to win lane as such. But here right now, he is shoving hedging quite a lot. He's had to go through his pot as well. Both of them started on Door and Shield quite interestingly as well, just to make sure they can survive through the early stages in this game. However, the Tristana also does shove very well early on, so maybe it's just a side effect of that. And when it gets around that 8-9 minute mark, you do start seeing some counter push coming through.
Yeah, ooh, nice shove. No flash available for Kakan, and he wants those double buffs back, but Scudsy not able to do it. They do burn the heal. Nice little gank there now, and Kakan going to find a little bit more pressure now, but should be able to regen most health and mana just because of those double buffs.
Yeah, double buffs obviously very nice and a happy thing to have when you find yourself at this kind of stage in the mid lane, should we say? Getting shoved in by the D.Va, wrong game. Artorias might find himself in a lot of trouble right now.
Oh, here we go. Taunt in, knock up, no flash available, but no one's actually finishing it off. What? Oh, never mind. They got it just about. It looked like
Corrupting Potion got it.
I was going to say, they left it for the burn on Corrupting Potion. That was risky, but nonetheless, they do pick up that kill. Prelude and C will be nervous, but happy enough.
This is a good way to try and slow down that stage in the mid-game where Artorias comes online. He gets that first couple of items, starts shoving waves in, and there's not much that Galio can do. But for now, it's pretty good that Scudsy's getting involved. He hasn't abandoned the top lane and started looking elsewhere. He knows that his bot lane are winning, and he's quite happy with that. Prosphere, though, needs to be wary. There's an Ignite available on Nightmares, and they have the damage capacity to bring him down if they commit to it.
Yeah, and just like you said on Scudzy, not deterred by that failed kind of invade there in the first 3 minutes, going constantly into those enemy territories, getting behind the enemy and trying to make sure he gets those summoners, if not those kills, down. So definitely doing his best to try and carry his team. nerdRage pretty much in the same position as Prosphere. Needs to be a little bit careful with how much health he loses and doesn't want to get bursted down, but you know, Ignite versus Exhaust, a little bit more kill pressure on the side of Enclave.
Yeah, what's kind of worrying actually as well is that despite having those first 2 early kills, nerdRage are now actually behind in gold. Even though only by 100, they were 900 ahead when they first got those 2 kills. And now suddenly Enclave have closed the gap just through their CS advantage. They've got almost like 16 CS advantage here in the bot lane. This is not so much unheard of, but very rare that we see Jokerism and, you know, just not Nightmares crush through a lane together, and they're doing it so proficiently right now that there's no response for Hedge and Prosphere.
Yeah, we see D.Va denying the blue buff there over to Kakan, being forced to take by nerdRage. nerdRage's going to be like, no, there's nothing I could do. I had to take the blue buff. It was at risk, my friend. And he does pick that one up, but he is level 6 now, so a burst with the Feast is definitely on the cards. Has knockoff flash available though, so potentially we'll look for something. You see Enclave getting their own blue, so switched over to their mid laner, and D.Va's going to be pretty happy with that after having to play against a double buffs Orianna pretty early on.
Bot lane is just hitting level 6 as well, junglers too. Scudzy has literally just hit level 6, so I'm waiting to see where he chooses to make another impact now. Does he go back towards the top lane and try and give Prelude and C an easier time? They know he's a very, very skilled top laner. They don't want him to fall behind. He's pretty instrumental to their victory here in terms of keeping Jokerism alive in these fights. Or do you focus more on the mid lane, where it's been pretty samey so far? Neither side has really walked ahead with an advantage. You know, D.Va did lose out early on to the Orianna, but now it's kind of stabilized out a little bit. It's only that 1 kill on Kakan, which is really giving any kind of advantage in this lane. Yeah,
and I see a Cull actually being picked up by Artorias. Means that he's going to be going for that kind of, as you said, split push, stay by himself, just farm up, and then just become a huge powerhouse by himself, meaning you have to send multiple members to deal with him at a time. So we'll have to wait and see when that is finished, what he does end up kind of power spiking at. And as I say, kind of nothing else really happening. Scudzy just trying to get a little bit more vision down, trying to see if he can get anything else going from. Has now got the Cataclysm. Flash up, though, for pretty much everyone on the side of nerdRage. Ooh, nice little happy feet there from Prelude and C. Needs to be careful though, because he might not take a favourable trade if he's not careful.
I imagine he's played this matchup more than enough, knowing that he's in Challenger and has probably come up against a chameleon, especially in the older meta, when she was a thing, when carry top laners were a thing. Because nowadays it's pretty much all tanks, but here goes the first tower and a gank.
Here we go, first tower and a gank, dissuaded though by nerdRage. He was there in time. They do lose first tower though. That does go over to Enclave. That is a nice little bit of gold being shoved over into their pockets as well. And that means that Tristana is going to push up again. We're looking at the items just a little bit there with that 14-13 CS gold lead, CS lead for Jokerism over Hedge. It's, you know, equal to pretty much a huge amount of kind of lane pressure just being had with the BF sword and the pickaxe just over the kind of the Bilgewater Cutlass. So needs to be a little bit careful. And the more items he gets, the scarier this Tristana will become.
You kind of always concede bot lane when you know you're against a Tristana because of her tower pushing capabilities, and well, we've seen it come into effect right now. They find themselves almost 1,000 in the lead already for Enclave. And bot lane, I think for Hedge, it was a tough one because they were always going to take that trade, like I say, or always going to take the poke onto the tower, but maybe it was more of a case of, guys, we need to do something here or we will lose this first tower. nerdRage needs to come and get involved, or we need to look to try and force a gank and try and take Drake or something. They were just happy to let that one go, it seems, for now. Conceding that more so to worry about the other areas on the map, I think.
Wait and see what the next move is. nerdRage have kind of been a little bit slow now since that kind of early aggression that they kind of capitalized upon. It's Jokerism and Nightmares now the ones to push up as the dual lanes from both sides. Just trying to rotate, but I feel like nerdRage need to make a play somewhere right now because they're just going to continue to concede towers, continue to concede CS and gold to this Tristana. They need to find some way of dealing with it because it could be a death of 1,000 cuts if not.
Yeah, I hope in this context that nerdRage starts thinking, right, we know what happened in bot lane, let's not let that happen up here again. However, Scudzy knows exactly what his counterpart is thinking, and he's going to sneak his way into this bush. Even got itself pink warded, so now he knows that they have no idea he is here right now, and if he gets himself involved in the right capacity as nerdRage arrives, they might find themselves walking away with 2 or 3 kills.
They have got the Talia Weaver's Wall as well, so if D.Va, not really in the healthiest position, did actually have to blow heal there in the mid lane, so we'll hopefully figure out what that was there a second ago. As we see now, there comes a little bit of a move there. There's the ultimate from Brom as well, but now everyone's starting to TP in. Scudzy waits for it and now goes in. There's a good Cataclysm. All 5 players are in here from the side of nerdRage and then D.Va. Nice move there! Gets a nice shove, and it's completely turned everything around. It's going to be a 3-for-2 in favor of Enclave. They waited to pull the trigger, and the team fight came out.
That was beautifully executed, and a great round from D.Va as well, considering she was so low on health early on. I don't think it's over yet, because this tower still stands, but jokerism is going to hang around until it goes down.
Yeah, they still have their carries, and they have Prelude and C. He's not going to flash in on top of Kakan, who didn't actually have mana, but does have flash and heal. They pick themselves up another tower. Artorias does back away, just about. They are able to pick that one up, so now all of a sudden we're seeing a 2,000 gold lead and 3-for-2 in kills with a turret. Enclave, they're looking confident.
I'd love to see exactly how that played out again, especially the roams from mid lane I'd like to pay attention to, because D.Va, despite being lower on health and forced on the tower, still managed to make it to the fight first. And that triple knock-up was sublime. That was exactly what they needed to turn this around, and we said it earlier on. Scudzy waiting in the bush was exactly what they were planning for. They knew Nutri would show up. I don't think they strictly expected the TP to come through from Artorias, but this is where the tank meta shines, is that Prelude and C arrived. He got his own triple knock-up, which set it up so perfectly for D.Va, and they just crushed it out there. Artorias, he had pretty much nothing to do.
Yeah, and we see jokerism. He took bot tower, or he took top tower, and now he's just doing the exact same thing here on the mid. Does need to be careful though. Kakan can do a lot of damage with that Stork Shoe.
And he's 2-0.
Yep, and he's 2-0, so he's having a decent game at the moment as we see Prelude and C picking up a huge amount of CS now in this bot side. Neither of them have their TP now for a good 2 minutes at this stage. We'll have to wait and see what the teams do. Did they wait? No one going to go for Dragon, as it is a Cloud Drake. Poor Cloud Drake. Doesn't get any love. No love.
It can be great sometimes, but it's more situational. I remember actually once being told that the win rate when you have triple Cloud Drake is 99.6% or something ridiculous. But that's because,
just because you have such
you're
ridiculous.
Winning.
Yeah, you're winning, so you take 3 Cloud Drakes.
Or maybe it really is a sleeper OP and we just don't know about it.
Everyone puts on their Nikes and just like win the game. But like you said, I think 3 Cloud Drakes would be pretty handy if you are that far ahead, but it is going to be the Rift Herald now picked up, and looks like the Enclave, they've come to play. They're the ones being proactive. They're the ones making the moves. They knew, they telegraphed that little kind of sneaky play that nerdRage thought they had set up in that top side and ended up turning it in the Enclave's favor. They've got the Rift Herald. They've got priority in pretty much every lane. Top lane, look how far up Talia is. No threat, no fear, because they can see where everyone else is on the map.
And this again is where Nutri, I think, feels probably a little bit hurt by the pick that he's taken here. You've taken a very predictable, very slow tank-based jungler, which isn't a bad thing, because it gives Artorias the freedom to play something like the Camille. However, that's not Nutri's style. And when you're against someone like Jarvan, who is very used to these aggressive early plays, which we've seen so far in abundance by the looks of it, he's got 100% kill participation. Nutri kind of feels, well, sorry guys, what do you want from me here? What do you want me to do about this? Because he's making it plays everywhere else on the map. I don't have that ability and capability that he does to do these things.
We'll have to see what they do with it. Can they facilitate anything happening, as right now it's just kind of a farm the mid lane kind of going right now. They have got Rift Herald available, will be available for another little while, so no rush on that at the moment. And I don't think either team will be looking to rush for that Cloud Drake unless it's 100% certainty that they can get it. Have to wait and see, but D.Va, there's only 2 wards up here, and it doesn't matter because he can just push up as far as he likes, and we see the Rift Herald
going to force the play.
They're going to force it. They have got the Reaver's Wall available. Now they're going to push it onto this turret, force everybody back. Nicely done. Rift Herald will help take this one down, and that is going to be the 3rd and final outer turret taken down. As I say that, though, we're going to see Prelude and C and Artorias going head-to-head in this bot side. Prelude and C, though, he's a bit tanky, even just with those Ninja Tabbies in the Glacial Shroud, so he is going to be just fine. Jokerism, good guy minion, though, gets in his way, does not get hit by the Winter's Bite. And D.Va just going to play keep away as well, so they get a free tower, nothing else traded back. And honestly, I just feel like nerdRage just don't really know what to do. Nutri looks lost. And I know we're making probably a big deal about this kind of carry jungler, but it's just so not his style. He just kind of looks like he doesn't know where to be and what to do just being on this Cho'Gath.
Khan almost got popped out there. I think it's kind of worth looking at the matchups again as well, and just reminding yourself that realistically Artorias is probably feeling a bit desperate against the Galio here, but he's got a lane that he needs to win. He needs to take the towers, he needs to get kills. That's why you're playing a carry top laner. It just feels like almost the roles are the wrong way around, and you understand why the meta that we've got is all about these tanks in the top lane, why it's often about these more playmaking style junglers. Cho'Gath is great, but not really as a playmaker in the jungle. He's much more suited in the top lane, and in fact, if they'd stuck Artorias on the Cho'Gath and said, right, get huge, Nom on Jokerism, we win this game, that would have been a much more sensible idea.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we don't have the full details of the picks and bans. I would have imagined that Jarvan was a first pick by Enclave, just purely because I don't see why newtree wouldn't pick it if they banned any kind of carry jungler against him. It kind of fits his bill. It's a kind of a good early game damage mixed in with tank stats at the end and good utility. So, but we'll have to hopefully get that information for you guys after this game. But right now, you've got to feel like Enclave are feeling a little bit better in terms of their position. They've taken all 3 outer towers. They've got themselves a nice 2.5, nearly 3,000 gold lead. And they've got to be feeling pretty at the moment.
Yeah, and look at this Galio as well. 2-1 and 2. Got the Righteous Glory available. So to me, that's a good engage tool that they've got. They've got more things to pile in on. We were saying for Enclave, it's more about this kind of more skirmishy kind of base. They don't want to get into team fights, which is what nerdRage seems to want, but they're more than happy to go for this pick onto Artorias.
Artorias, no flash now available, will end up using the ultimate, but it didn't quite knock out anyone as we see it there. Jokerism picks himself up a kill. Nice rotations there as all 4 come in, but this is what I was talking about. nerdRage, they're not doing anything. There's no way they can take advantage of this 4-man stack in the bot side because they haven't got any lanes pushing and they've got no wards to push up.
Well, 2 of my favorite words when talking about games is reactive versus proactive. Just saying that about a team really describes how the game is going. You could say to me a team is playing very reactive, which to me would probably say they're playing very defensive, they're reacting to plays that are going on, but they're not making any plays themselves. The issue here for nerdRage is they aren't even being reactive. This is the first time they've really responded to a play coming through, and they're going to go for it now.
They're going to go for it as we see their heads jumped on. There's the Galio ultimate as well. It's Scuzzy forced to flash away from this fight, but there is the Braum. This could be a great 4-man ult coming in, or for 4-man taunt coming in from Prelude and C. He's just taking up so much damage. It's a failed gank, but at the same time, nobody goes down. Jokerism didn't really get in range to do any damage, but they burned summoners. That's the important thing. No flash on newtree, no flash on hedge, and it just means that the next time those ultimates come back up, they can go for the dive again.
That was crazy how much just got thrown at Prelude and C. He got nommed on by newtree, he got Kakan's ultimate, Hedge had his ultimate coming out as well, Frostbite had his ultimate. Literally everything was at him under tower, but he wasn't tanking the tower. He hasn't got a Barmy Cinder, and he did not hit anyone while he was under there. He tried to, but didn't really manage to get away with it. So in that case, he was able to walk out, did have to burn his flash to escape, but taking down 3 or 4 ultimates with you without even dying is a huge win overall for them. That's an extra 90 seconds or so now of freedom that they've got to just kind of think, right, they can't engage on us, they can't force any big fights, let's just reset a bit, go back and grab our buffs, and then start looking for the next objective, which very may well be Baron, which has been 40 seconds time.
Yeah, with a Talia and a Tristana, they actually have a decent kind of amount of burst they can put down onto it, and a tank stat that is Galio, that they can definitely tank it up for a decent amount of time. Has got the Righteous Glory now with the Spectral's Cow, so kind of building health, and like you said, looking for those team fights. They all, that first bot item, Righteous Glory, just says to me they want to engage, they want to look for team fights, and that's all they want right now. As we wait to see now where the next play comes from.
And we spoke in pre-game about this mid-lane matchup being the big one. Kakan versus D.Va, small champion pool versus inconsistency. Which one is going to come out on top? And to be fair to them, both of them have had pretty big impacts on the game so far. They've been involved in ganks all across the map. Both of them are the only ones, realistically, I'll say both of them for Kakan. He's the only one doing relatively well on his team. On the other side, D.Va is definitely up there alongside Jokerism, alongside Prelude and C, keeping themselves very, very relevant in the game. Trying to take one big ultimate can end it for them otherwise. Artorias, this is what he needs to do a long time ago though, is just completely ignore Prelude and C. He doesn't have the damage to bring him down here realistically. Here he goes for the engage.
And it does drop the ultimate. Prelude and C going to drop the taunt. Not going to get it actually, so Artorias is still in a favorable position, but here comes Lulu, the support. No flash available for Artorias either. They're going to polymorph him, ignite him. He's still not quite gone down yet. They don't really want to jump in on this. Prelude and C knows he can be bursted with that Triforce and Tiamat combo. And here comes the killer of people. Lulu picks up the kill. He lives up to his name of Nightmares.
And he's a real nightmare as well because he's now got the Ardent Sensor which he can play around with, and with Jokerism being 2-0-1, he's already got the Static Shiv, he's already got the Infinity Edge. This is probably hell on earth right now for nerdRage. They're only 2,500 gold down, but I expect that to accelerate probably to about 5,000 in the next few minutes as they start using these power spikes they've now attained.
One thing I wanted to kind of call out a little bit for nerdRage is they got the thing that they wanted. They have the split push now set up. Artorias is going to beat Prelude and C in every 1v1 now. That's a huge, huge moment in the game for them. But then what happened is that when they know that Enclave have to send people to deal with it, they didn't move anywhere else on the map. They didn't shove lanes, they didn't look to try and take another tower, they just kind of let it happen, even though it did take about 30, 40 seconds for it to happen. And I feel like they need to be a little bit, like you said, proactive with that kind of play. It's like, oh, there's 2 people bot, okay, we need to make a move now. That's what they need to do in order to come back into this.
Feels like there's quite a bit being invested by nerdRage as well, just to keep Hedge in this game. Got himself the Knight's Vow. He is their tank killer right now. He's the one who can bring down Prelude and C, who can bring down Scudsy when they're diving into the backline and trying to cause chaos. Crossfair maybe caught out.
Yeah, oh, we see there an aggressive move in as well as Prelude and C is now here. They are going to use the ultimate onto Scudsy, who gets taken down. Lulu is now the next target. They do end up taking jungler for jungler. Lulu just about gets out alive. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but the important thing is Artorias didn't have to leave bot lane. He can still keep split pushing, as we see. Prelude and C, he's so tanky.
Takes no damage.
It takes absolutely no damage. Hasn't got the hero's entrance, though, to really go for this, but they should be able to pick up this turret because it's just so hard for them to really aggress on top of this, but they actually may end up losing their lives for staying too long. Prosper does drop down the exhaust onto Jokerism. He's taking so much damage. Boom. He's going to try and get a nice wall there, but D.Va does end up taking a lot of turret aggro as well. Tukan is just trying to keep them away from backing, though, because right now Artorias, as I say that, though, Jokerism jumps in, gets himself a nice little kill. Hedge trying to go in, but they need to be careful. That is a full mana bar available, or sorry, full health bar, I should say, available to Prelude and C, but Artorias has TP'd in on the backside. Jokerism is available. He's just going ham. He's putting in auto attack, and auto attack has got those red buff procs as well. nerdRage trying to get in, doesn't hit the rupture as they keep kiting this fight back. Nightmares is just going to play his happy feet card, will eventually go down, and nerdRage trying to find something else from this. I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything. Prelude and C is so tanky. Jokerism going to come back in now to try and play keep away as Scudsy has now respawned back. On his own. Jokerism was isolated and taken down there by Artorias, and now it's just the two tanks who just have no damage on the side of Enclave. This engage has gone on for so long. D.Va's now come back with a full health bar as they just try and kite away. Artorias is still chasing, but now it looks like D.Va feels like he can chase onto this. Hedge has got his full health bar back again. Do they look for Baron? It's finally over.
Take yourself a breath, mate.
I'm going to take a drink of water if that's all right.
I have never seen someone get so excited and enthralled by a disengage.
Look, you saw them. It was twist after turn, and in the end, I don't even know who won it.
Well, I'm sure production will have a great load of fun looking at some replays in that, because there were quite a few key moments in that. There was the initial dominance by Enclave, which suddenly got turned around once they realised, oh crap, Artorias is taking bot lane tower, let's go and deal with him. And then suddenly you have nerdRage and Artorias appear in top lane. And Artorias now seems to be the key to these fights. Now that he's got to the stage where he's got himself the Hydra, he's got himself the Trinity Force, it doesn't matter what Prelude and C does here, he will not stack up against the damage potential of Artorias. And they need to save the CC, I think, here on Enclave, because Jokerism then, he got ulted by Artorias, no one was there to save him, and he just got killed in 2 or 3 hits. That should never happen when your AD carry was as fed as Jokerism was.
Yeah, Jokerism, he tried his best. He is 4-1-2, has nearly got his triple crit items, which will be rounded out by a rapid fire cannon, I would imagine. As we wait and see now, but the big problem right now, I think, for Enclave is, like you said, if Jokerism dies, if he gets isolated by Artorias, that's it. That's game. You don't have any kind of comeback from that. D.Va, yes, can put down damage, but needs time. Needs to be able to kind of kite backwards, and that's why it almost looked really, really good for the side of Enclave, but then the TP came in, and right now they have a TP advantage, so they may just try and force out this Baron just purely because they know there is no TP available. Here we go, potential coming in. Prelude and C is going to play keep away, I would imagine. They know
he's got flash. They
know it's going in. Artorias is going to keep. He's not even trying to come back for this. He's not even going to try and go in for this as the Weaver's Wall comes out. But D.Va, he's caught. He's caught. He had to drop the wall. Got caught between a rock and his own wall. But right now, we actually see the TP being forced to be used by Prelude and C. Just purely. Oh, nice rupture, and that means nerdRage are going to be able to take out a free inhibitor turret just because of hesitation from Enclave. Though they're still going, he might be able to actually end the game.
They've got to force a fight here. They have to force a fight if they want to be able to keep in this.
Here we go. Everyone's coming in. Prosper and nerdRage are the targets. What a great two-man shockwave, and it looks like nerdRage have found the engage 4v2, and it's just all gone wrong. 3 people dead, 2 people dead, 4 people dead, and Artorias is like, it's all good, guys, I got this, and he's going to take the Nexus turret. The full ace is gone, and not even a full ace, excuse me, D.Va was nearly dead. Can he keep it away? I don't know. It might actually end up being the game at 26 minutes. Artorias has got the damage. There it is! The ace coming in, and nerdRage stamped their authority at the top of the ESL Premiership.
I cannot believe it. They're about to end this out at 26 minutes. Enclave Jeez! What? I can't believe